Dominating every situation you face like Ragnar Lothbrok from Vikings. Commanding respect and striking fear in the eyes of your enemies if necessary. This is the breakdown of the body language of a dangerous big man. Enjoy! So first off, have a look at how slow he walks, okay? Through this entire scene, you will see him just walking at his own pace, okay? And that's a big man trait right there. Big men always move at their own pace. Hmm? And also have a look at how focused his eyes are on the road. You know, he's walking towards there and his eyes are looking in that direction, okay? You will see sometimes he might slip off with his eyes for a short, millisecond. But if you really have a look at his eyes, they will not really, he'll stay on track, okay? He knows where he wants to be. His eyes are fixed on that. You see a lot of people turning their head, looking everywhere, looking behind them, looking there, looking there. It just looks nervous, really, and big men move at their own pace and have just fixed eyes on really the road and the goal they want to have. It just looks purposeful, okay? Right, I don't really know where he does that now, but you can see him looking down. That looks. It doesn't really look submissive. Usually, looking down is a submissive trait, but here it looks kind of like guilt. But in general, you don't really want to catch yourself looking down because it's just submissive trait, and that just can make other people kind of act up and act more dominant and kind of just use you because you're the submissive one. You really just tell them with looking down that they can do whatever they want with you because you're kind of alright with it. You're like the follow guy, not the one who leads, but the one who follows. It's not really great. You don't want to look down, alright? It's just submissive trait. But you can see eyes back on track, okay? Back fixated on his goal. And you can also see how everyone's kind of making space for him. And that will probably usually not be the case for you, but he's probably well known in the village he's walking through right now. So you can just see everyone's kind of making space for him right now. Also, also with appearance, all right? You can just see how big he is, just his overall width of his body and just these kind of things and the scar here and his eyes and his big beard. He just looks very, very masculine, very dangerous in probably in the times of in Vikings time, all right? So that's why also people tend to make space for him, because if you look like you're a fucking man and you easily can handle fights, it's just intimidating. People will kind of get out their way to make space for you, right? You can see his teeth showing up for a second. I'm pretty sure that this character is a little tending to be a bit psychopathic, okay? So I don't advise you to do these kind of movements. You'll see that I will just redo this. So I think it's just his psychopathic side here. You're right there. So there's nothing a big man usually does. They think that's just because he's a bit of a psycho, all right? But here, that's really a prime example. Eyes again fixed on the road. His head is not turning. He's moving at his own pace. And also, if you hear, you will hear these stomps. He's having he's carrying a lot of weight. He's a big guy. Addition to that, he's wearing like a coat and stuff that just adds weight to his overall weight already. So he's just stomping, which is a very, very, very intimidating and just a big man thing in general. If you have the chance to make your footsteps louder and kind of stomp, that's a great way to just show off dominance, is to kind of intimidate people. All right. Right there, you can hear it perfectly. Okay, you just hear the stomp, stomp, stomp. He's a big man, all right. That comes when you just eat a lot and then go to the gym, build up a lot of muscles. Then you just stomp naturally, and that's very, very impressive, and just kind of gives you this masculine trait. If you're stomping, it's just different, all right. But that's also another advantage to gym. All right, here you can see it in an extreme version. So he was basically walking in a big mob of a lot of people crowded, just walking through them, and everyone made space for him. So this will is very unlikely to happen if you're not that big and not that intimidating looking. So if he would walk in this kind of dress for like London or some big city, maybe this chance is higher that people will make space for him. But I will not tell you to go into crowds of many people and just walk through and try to bump everyone out. But if there's someone, I don't know, if you're, let's say you're walking on the street and a lot of people are kind of, big crowd is kind of common, or let's say two people just coming your way, and it's like this, this is the street. Then the persons are just walking there, all right? The people are just walking there, and you're walking here. A lot of people would just kind of slip off and make space for them. And that would be just dumb in general, okay? You don't want to make space for people. These guys can easily just walk behind each other, all right? So in this case, you don't want to, you want to walk through, all right? You just want to run through, okay? But if there's a big crowd like that, maybe just try to go there without just running through, all right? But you also see how he doesn't stop. That's also a very important thing. He doesn't stop to wait for people to get out of his way. He just walks so slowly that the person in front of him can decide if he wants to go out of his way or if he stays there. But either, it doesn't matter what, if he does, he will see it, all right? So if he decides to stay, for example, and not go out of his way, then he will see it, okay? Because he's walking slowly. If you would run through that, not only he would have just a worse chance to get out of your way, but you wouldn't see, you would probably bump into him. But because he's walking so slowly, he sees if people make space for him and go to the side or not. That's also a great way. So you don't have to stop and kind of look like a bum by just, stopping, waiting, having a look if he's going away, then here, stopping again. That's just weird. So he just moves slowly the whole time without stopping. And if people go all this way, fine. If not, he just takes off a route, all right? You see a lot of things happening in his mouth area. I think that's, again, kind of his crazy side, right? No, here's the difference between them. You can hear how he kind of says, "Let us pass, let us through." All right. You see how Ragnar didn't ask once. Okay, he just walked, and his appearance was enough to make people go to the side. He's not that intimidating. He just it's just they just have different kind of builds. All right, Ragnar's bigger. Ragnar has a huge beard. The overall appearance is just different. All right, people instantly make kind of go out the way to have him go his way. And you see how he has to ask for it, right? So that's a big difference right here. You can already see who's the more dominant one here, right? Again, now he's looking down. It's not really a great look here. Don't really want to break eye contact by looking down. In general, if you break eye contact, do it to the sides. That's better, because looking down always looks like you're intimidated or you're submissive. Just if you break eye contact to the side, it's not that bad. Uh, okay, never mind. He just looked at this guy crawling here. All right. Here again, you can just hear it perfectly. Okay, just big stomps. All right. No, without saying anything. So he also embraces the silence, which is another big man trait. Doesn't feel the constant need to break the silence by saying dumb shit. If he has something to say, he says it. If not, he doesn't. All right. Also, have a look at his build. Okay, he just looks huge. Okay, and that's great because of probably gym, a lot of weightlifting, but also just the things he has on. All right, it's very easy to make yourself look bigger when you just put a lot of, let's say in the winter, you just put a lot of coats on or whatever, just so you just look wider. And that's a great way to do it.
Hello, Eva. There's no mistaking you. It appears my return is not welcome. You've obviously all made your mind up about me. Cannot blame you for that.
You can see a switch in his tone. Before you obviously make your mind up, kind of angry, aggressive. You could, kind of think, okay, maybe he will now start to scream or shout or something. But then he kind of breaks it down, be like, okay, I can't really, I understand that. And he kind of has his own self-control over himself, being like, okay, maybe, it wasn't perfect for you. You didn't do a perfect job here. Maybe it's your own fault. That's also, again, big man thing, right?
Sure. Oh, boys. Who's gonna do it?
You see a lot of moving here. So he moved a lot with his head. He also kind of tilted it forward. I think that was his crazy side again. Not really a usual thing to do. You can see how he's turned away with his body, but his face is turned towards her, and I think that's a man actually. So his whole body and face and eyes are turned toward him. And before he didn't even look at him. Okay, he was like face that way with his entire body. And that's again demonstration of the big man. Big men get attention without them even have to talk and have to give his body attention to him. He looked away, everything, body faced the other way, head faced the other way, and so he got attention. That's just a big man thing.
Who's gonna kill me? I don't mind. Go ahead.
Can see a lot of fast moving again. All right. I don't know if he's really nervous, but you don't really want to move that fast. Okay. Kind of want to move at your own pace. Now what he did good was looking at each individually, kind of having eye contact with everyone, just to kind of get their attention and show off that he's not afraid of them. But he kind of moved too fast here. All right, you don't want to move that fast. Move at your own pace.
Leave. It's about you, Victor. You think you're a man now? No. I dare you.
Hear the whisper, all right? Whisper is a very, very effective strategy. So If you whisper, people like lean in to listen what you say. So whispers are a very good way to have people listen to you. Okay, that's just whispers are very effective. Really use them more often.
Put me out of my misery. Do it. Do it. Do it.
You can see, kind of started with like a, kind of funny, do it, and then screaming at him. So that's again, I think his crazy side. But you can see how I think he kind of punched him in the stomach, but still he broke eye contact by looking down, and also he flinched a lot. So I know it's tough when a big man kind of punches you in the stomach, but the best thing he could have done here was just maintaining strong eye contact, looking in the eyes, and try to, just flinch as less as possible, okay? By looking down, it's just kind of like accepting the submissive position here.
Look at these people.
And then here, just a fast turnaround, screaming, and but still, kind of pointing at everyone else here, but still holding strong eye contact, okay? You'll see Ragnar just holding very, very strong eye contact. That's a very good trait.
They no longer support me. Look.
And you can see how he makes himself big, alright? Oh, look at that.
They no longer support me. Look.
You're right there. So he has this, the crowd made a lot of space for him, okay? And it's, if you're talking to a lot of people, it's the best thing you can do is just take up as much space as possible, okay? And also kind of hold eye contact with it. A lot of, the most people as you can, I don't know how to say it, but just hold eye contact. You saw him holding eye contact with him. He just really uses up the space here, taking up the space and holding eye contact. And that's just how he gets the attention of all the people here, because you can see how close they are staying together. They can't really make space for themselves. But he has all the space, so with using that, he just gets the attention of everyone here. And also notice how his chin here of the man behind him is kind of tugged in. It's not a great posture you want to be in. Always keep your chin elevated. Just looks dominant and just more powerful. If you always have your chin tucked in, it just kind of looks weird.
Why would they? I am your leader, and I just left.
Here also, you can see again, kind of the crazy side going, but I don't really know if if you usually do this, it's kind of like a fun way to do it. But he's kind of entertaining the crowd here, right? Make himself big, switching tonality, switching the form he says things, makes just the attention on him being greater, okay? Everyone's listening to him. He's not just talking monotone, because then he would probably lose a lot of people here. But he's just switching the way, having eye contact with everyone, kind of going around the crowd, looking at everyone, making himself big, taking up space. It's very important. You can just see the difference here, how he uses his hands to make himself big, and the people behind him to, kind of tucked in arms. They're just not really making themselves big here, alright? What this man does good is having his feet pretty far apart here, So he has a relative wide stance, that's pretty good. But except of that, he's, Ragnar's pretty much taking up twice as much space as, these three guys here, okay? Pretty much everyone in the crowd, alright?
What kind of leader does that? Huh? What kind of king abandons his people?
Alright, again, that's a very important scene. I'll just replay it real quick.
I am your leader, and I just left. What kind of leader does that? Huh?
Here, the little expression here in his face. I think it's his crazy side, but it's just he's very entertainative. Okay, a lot of people will give him attention just because he's always doing something. Something is happening here. He's doing facial expressions. He's taking up space. He's making movements. Just easy to watch him and listen to him.
What kind of thing?
Then also here the stomp in the ground. Okay, pointing towards the ground and stomping at the same time is just very, very powerful. And then also the quick turn here, or relatively quick turn, really at his own pace, not that quick. But then again, shouting, you can see just how intimidating he is. Okay, she broke eye contact the second he started to scream. She kind of folded her arms here, making herself smaller because she's intimidated. She folded her arms, looking towards the floor. He's just, everyone he kind of had to, looked at and screamed at. I instantly just intimidated, and he's just the big man. Everyone's listening to him. He's filling up the space here, making himself big. That's a very great way to do it.
Bandits! It's people! What kind?
Now look at I think that was 5 seconds, entirely just silent, all right? He's just, screaming and then instantly went completely silent. And then here again, just normal tone, all right? He's just really, that's how you can see that he got, when people go loud, it's usually that they're out of control, but he's not out of control because he can easily just switch back to his normal voice, okay? And also, you can easily switch to silence, all right? Embracing a silence, not saying anything, being alright with it, not trying to fill it really. It's powerful if you let it work for you, all right? A lot of people are scared of silence, having it working against them. You will see big men just using the silence for their own advantage.
I just thought. Bandits is...
You see how every one of his son broke eye contact, except from this one. Just have a look at the eyes. Everyone really broke eye contact instantly, and Ragnar always holds eye contact. He didn't broke eye contact once. Have a look.
Bandits is...
Right there, this guy broke eye contact by looking towards the ground. And this guy is really the only one who holds eye contact and kind of stays strong. But his chin is tucked in, but he just, from all these guys, he is probably doing his job the best because he's holding strong eye contact still, not really getting intimidated. He just kind of keeps his cool and keeps holding eye contact very strong. He saw a lot of facial expressions. Again, crazy side, I'd say. And you can see he definitely switched eye contact, or just switched looking at something. So either he's looking at him now, or before he didn't look at him, okay? So he also broke eye contact. And he also was looking this way before and then started looking having eye contact. So everyone's kind of intimidated by him, afraid of just holding eye contact. And you see Ragnar, that's how big men do it. Big men just keep holding eye contact because they know as soon as, especially if you break eye contact by looking down, as soon as you break eye contact, just it's kind of this message with, okay, there's this rule where you say, I will not be the first one who breaks eye contact. So basically, you and the other person have eye contact so long till one breaks it. And if you in your head be like, okay, I won't break it first, you just stare at them the whole time. And if there can be a 30-second thing. And Ragnar, you will see Ragnar doing it. Ragnar never breaks eye contact first. Okay, very, very powerful. Again, a lot of facial expressions here. I think crazy side, but you can also see a kind of tensing here in his jaw, which is a sign of stress or nervousness. Probably stress here.
So who was the Viking?
and then again the whisper. Okay, he just switched to 4 different sides. First he was shouting, then he just turned into complete silence, and then he talked in his normal voice again. Now he's whispering again. Okay, he's just really using everything, the whole spectrum, to have full attention on him. Okay, that's a great way to do it.
Do you know how this works? Do you want to be king?
And you will also see a lot of people in the crowd. You know, you can just read the body language of the people around here. Okay, so she's kind of closed up, folded her arms, you know, kind of making herself small, really insecure behavior. You know, you just want to use your arms to create space for yourself, not the opposite. So she's just creating a smaller width of her body that way. So she's kind of insecure, you know, also here protecting her vital organs. It's just a lot of submissive behavior. Also, if you protect your vital organs there with this folding of arms, and then she has her arms behind her back, also kind of clasped together again, making herself smaller. Also, not a great look, insecure. He's having the opposite, having his hands clasped together in front of his body, also making himself smaller than he really is. A lot of these people are either intimidated by him, so they don't do anything with their arms and feel like, you know, trying to make themselves small, or they're just insecure. You can easily read that by just looking at the body language. So these 3 people, you know, making themselves tiny, which is not great. And then you see Ragnar on the other side, just make himself as big as possible, always having a huge frame, using his arms to make himself bigger. There's just a real big, you know, difference here.
You must kill me. Take it.
You can see kind of offering him something while having strong eye contact. And that's also what the gesture, you know, if you're gesturing with your palms facing upwards, that's the same motion like offering something. Okay, so and offering something is like when an offer comes, the baiters kind of tend to offer them something or some gift, and then their palms are always facing upwards. So it's a submissive behavior. You don't want to gesture loud with your palms facing upwards, except, you know, you kind of want to be on the same lane and don't want to be the more dominant one. But if you click on this video, you probably don't want that. So watch out that you don't gesture too often with your palms facing upwards.
You? No, what about you? No, no, anyone? Who?
And then here, stomping the sword in the ground, alright?
Oh, no, anyone?
Here, just right in the ground, okay? Middle of the space, very, very confident, okay? And you just see how he doesn't really care, okay? He has the attention of everyone. Stomps it in the ground. He just makes a lot of noise, stomps with his feet. He's loud, he's using his tonality, switching, taking up space. Just very, 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 just very confident and dominant man.
Who wants to be king?
And now here the walk, that's also very important. If you have a look at his walk, you'll see how his arms are kind of swinging, okay? You'll see his arms swinging. So you will always have one arm swinging backwards and one arm swinging forward, and that's a very good look because it will just instantly create more width and just bigger frame, more space for himself here. That's very, very good. And also you can just in general see how big of a guy this man is, alright? That's crazy, okay? He's double the size of normal people here. You can just see, have a look at her. She's kind of making herself tiny, okay? There's no way that she's even close to being as big as he is. You know, he's using his hands at any time, just making himself bigger. You know, here by swinging his arms, before by just gesturing and kind of, you know, having his arms up, Also, she's kind of folded her arms. Everyone is smaller than him, okay? It's crazy. He's always taking up space, and that's very dominant, very confident. And then just instantly going up into his face, okay? Kind of disregarding his personal space. Like I can be wherever I want. I will go into your face. I don't even care. He does it really good. He keeps having strong eye contact, which is the right way to do it. But it's just dominant. It's just dominance right there. Going into personal space of other people is just very dominant.
What about you, Sid? Do you want to be king?
Again, you can see a lot of tensing going on in his jaw. Have a look at his face. Right there, you can see the tensing. Again, nervousness. Also, his lips are kind of pressed together. Also, nervousness. But what he does great is just holding strong eye contact. Okay, that's very good.
You want to be king, kill me, and you are king.
And here, just again, completely invading his personal space here, right? Making himself big while invading his personal space. Hand kind of on his shoulder here. And then turning away, looking at the crowd, his face. He has still his full attention. That's very powerful. Okay, just using the personal space of other people makes you look way more dominant. I know it's not, don't tell you to go around touching people, but if you have a chance to touch people without looking like a weirdo, that's a great way to show off dominance, okay? Then here the smile, all right? I think it's actually a real smile because there are a lot of, here, the difference between a fake smile and the real smile is when you smile, if a fake smile, then there's nothing happening up here. But if it's a real smile, you can see there's a lot of things going on. Although it's probably not a real smile, but maybe it's just his crazy side showing through. That's why he smiles like that. But usually you can see it if there is something happening up here, okay?
What are you waiting for?
And then just the ultimate invasion of personal space, slapping him in the face, okay? You can't really do more of disrespect and dominance than that. Again, not telling you to go around slapping people. But if you're like kind of a big brother or a friend does something stupid and your little brother does something stupid or someone you have authority over, it's a great way to kind of show off. I know nowadays you'll probably get canceled and shit, but if you have a chance for it and it's not like you're asshole for it, often you are asshole, but if it's, for example, your little brother does something stupid, just a little quick slap in the face, kind of making him understand that you did something stupid is a very, very dominant thing to do, okay?
Are you afraid to be a man?
And now here, the second slap, just getting all up in his face, kind of just piercing eye contact, very strong eye contact. Not really anything bad about his body language. He's very dominant. I know it's tough, slapping people in the face. Probably not a thing you will use, but just the overall kind of invading personal space. Also by touching, you don't have to slap people. It's a very dominant thing, and getting up in his face. Again, you kind of invade his personal space here, make him kind of force to look you in the eyes, because if he would look down here, it's just really then he's big, really, really submissive. But that's just dominant performance here from Ragnar. Here again, his mouth's moving a lot. That's probably his crazy side again. Again, I think it's the third guy he invaded personal space, alright? He's really, really dominant. And also, really, he just also always kind of invades the personal space of other people. Petting him kind of makes him look like he's a little pet or he's like his dog or something. It's just a lot. It's just very disrespectful, very dominant, really. Okay, he's just always kind of invading personal space of other people, and while you're doing it, you also make yourself bigger, which is another advantage. Okay. And here the slow turn. Okay, that was like a 3 second turn. Okay, it was very, very slow. That's how Big Man do it. He could have been surprised and been like, oh wow, fast turn around. But he just turns at his own pace. Big man thing right there. And you can see how fast this man walked in front, alright? That's a very, very big difference in terms of speed. He just moves way, way faster, okay? He's kind of nervous, he's kind of or excited, I don't really know. But he just moves real, real faster than Ragnar does. Okay, now you can see another difference between just big man. And, he's probably in this case the better because it's tough to be a big man if Ragnar's around. And also just look at his overall frame. He doesn't have these many jackets on. He doesn't have this big of a build. But he also just has his arms tucked by his side, so he just creates a way, 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 way smaller frame than Ragnar does. He could have been even smaller while with folding his arms, but I think you understand the point. You really should use your arms to make yourself big, especially if you not have a big build, alright? If you have a big build, it kind of does it for you, but it's always good to use your arms to just make yourself bigger. And here you can see a little smirk, okay? There was a little smirk going on. I don't know if it's his crazy side coming through, but in general, big man smirk. Because if you show your teeth, Ragnar, I think he smiled once with teeth shown in this whole conversation, alright? I know it's not a conversation where you laugh a lot, but in general, you see Ragnar not laughing often, and if he does, then it's often his crazy side coming through. And that's just a big man thing, okay? Big man smirk instead of showing your teeth, because showing your teeth too often is a sign of submissive behavior. Actually, showing your teeth at all is a submissive behavior. So just watch out, well, for your quantity of showing your teeth. And then here again, a slow turn, and while his whole body was turning slowly, all the time he had strong eye contact, okay? Although his body was faced that way, he still had strong eye contact. And you'll see a lot of big men do it. Also, Bond does it. When he turns, his body's already turning, but his face is still kind of holding eye contact with the person he was looking at before. And this is this exact same as Ragnar does right now, okay? He turned slowly this way and had eye contact the whole time. And that's a very good move, okay? It's tough to do. Probably need practice for it, but if you can master it and use it more often, it's very, very powerful and effective. And then here, okay, look at that. Look at the difference in just size, okay? I know I talked about just making yourself big, but just look at the difference in frame here, okay? He uses his arms to make himself really, really huge, okay? Widening his arms here. Already being a very big guy, but look at that, okay? That is twice this man's frame. this man, he's slightly bigger, okay? He has a bigger build, but look at how he uses his arms. I'm not saying to make this pose all the time, because it's probably weird if you just go around the street walking like this. But you just see the example of using your hands to make yourself big. He just looks way more confident in this position, okay? You see all the people here. Look, he's not as close to as big as he is, as Ragnar is. He's not as close to being as big as Ragnar is. Just because Ragnar's using his arms, alright? Just at least don't fold your arms or do it in front of your body, because then you make yourself smaller. Use your arms to make yourself bigger. I hope you got the point now. You can also see a little fidgeting here on his arms, on his hands of the other man. Right there. I know it's a sword, and you probably won't encounter a lot of people having a sword in their hand, but just in general, if you see people kind of fidgeting with their hand and, you know, doing little motions, that's a sign of nervousness. You can also use it at your workplace or at your school. If you see just people kind of fidgeting around, that's a sign of nervousness. Now you can see, now he's kind of messing up his posture by slightly leaning backwards. But even though he's leaning backwards, just because of the things he has on and his big build, he just looks huge, alright? Just the difference here, it's crazy, okay? Although he's not having a great posture here by leaning back, I think he's kind of going for the sword now. But you just see how the gym does the job, okay? If you lift weights, you just look bigger, okay? That's very important to take up space. Here again, okay? Still holding a strong eye contact the whole time. Eye contact is very, very powerful. And also then here, invading his personal space with his hand, kind of touching him. It's kind of the touch you do if you get, you know, start kissing someone. But just in general, we see in Vikings that people touch them, you know, other people around them a lot, not themselves. They just invade personal space really often. That's just a sign of dominant behavior, okay? And then here, just pulling him in, you know, with his both hands on his back. He's, you know, if he would do anything, try anything, you know, get his sword or something, he's just pretty much trapped around him, okay? He's just completely so in. And it's just very, very, very lot of personal, you know, personal space being invaded here. It's very powerful. Also, let's say, you know, the back game. So if people, let's say that's the back of a person here. If you have your hands, you know, there are two arms here. You always want to have your hand over the other arm, okay? That's here on this side is another arm. You always want to be the arm on top, because that's a more dominant one. Just in general here, because I see it. If they're, I don't know, with your friend and you have your arms on the back, you want to be the one on top, because that's dominant. You can see another fellow big man. You can see how big he is again. Kind of, again, instantly piercing with his eye contact. But that was it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you can learn something. Till next vid. Bye.